Hey guys, I'm Dizzy Dad. Today in this video, I want to talk about what it's like over at Disney World right now in this pandemic. So let's get started. I know Disney World was shut down for a few months, but if you would go over there tomorrow, it would look a lot different than you were used to. Don't get me wrong, there's still some great ways to make magical moments. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what it'd be like if you'd go to Disney World, and I've actually been there about 6 or 7 times since they reopened, and I want to talk about some of my experiences. First and foremost, if you went over to Disney World, you would notice that it's a lot less crowded. And according to Disney World, they're actually operating at about 25% capacity. When you're walking around the park, it sure feels like there's a lot of people there, but once you start getting in lines for rides, you start to notice how less crowded it really is. From the first time I went when it reopened to a couple weeks ago, you can definitely tell that there's a lot more people there, even though they're running at the same 25% capacity. But what I think is that most people feel more comfortable going to Disney World now as time goes on. Now you still have to wait in line for rides, but it's a lot less than you're used to. So now let's talk about wait times and fast passes. When we first went to Disney World shortly after it reopened, we rode a lot of rides. And if you didn't know, they actually suspended fast passes for the time being during COVID. I'm not sure why they did this, but they said on their website that, quote, "It must be suspended as we plan to use additional queue space to control capacity at our attractions and maintain physical distancing," end quote. This makes no sense to me because you still have to wait in line whether it's the normal ride or the fast pass lane, but I guess like they said, they're using the extra space to spread people out. So there are no fast passes available and you will have to wait in line for every ride. Now, like I said, when we first went to Disney World shortly after it reopened, we rode a lot of rides. We rode almost every ride in Magic Kingdom before lunchtime. It was fast, no fast passes needed, and it was awesome. And shortly after lunch, we actually got to go around on the rides a second time, and I'm even talking about Seven Dwarfs Mine. My wife and son actually only waited about 30 to 40 minutes to get on Seven Dwarfs Mine, and that shows you right there one of the biggest rides in Magic Kingdom and how short the lines really were. Another example would be the Peter Pan ride, which was only about a 30-minute wait. Now, I want to touch on a couple COVID-specific changes that you would come across at the parks today. Here's a quick list I want to touch on and go over. New changes are park reservations, where park attendance is managed via the Disney Park Pass reservation system before you're allowed to enter the park. There are face masks, which are required for all guests 2 and up, including cast members. Temperature screenings, which are required for entry to most locations. And also, I want to touch on the reservation system a little bit more because this has been a sore spot for me and my family. Sometimes we like to wake up Saturday morning, get ready, go to Disney World without planning. And when the park first opened up, this really wasn't a problem being able to get a reservation for one of the 4 parks whenever you wanted to. But for the last couple of weeks, it seems like it's been a little bit harder and parks have been filling up a little bit faster. So I just want to make this clear. So even if you buy a ticket for Disney World, you still have to make a reservation for one of the parks. Let me say that again. Even if you buy a ticket for Disney World, you cannot get in unless you make a reservation for one of the 4 parks the day you want to go. If you do not have a reservation, you will not be allowed in. And on top of that, you also need a valid ticket with your reservation. You can't just show up with the reservation. This is how they control that 25% capacity that they're trying to run at. And like I said, each of the 4 parks have their own system. So one day you might find that Magic Kingdom's full, but Animal Kingdom or Epcot won't be. And as you can imagine, a place like Hollywood Studios with Star Wars Land will fill up faster than, say, Animal Kingdom. The other additions they added for COVID, like face masks, social distancing, and temperature checks, are given and really aren't that hard to live with. You have to wear a mask at all times unless you're eating or drinking. But you cannot walk around the park eating with your mask off. If you want to eat, you have to stop in a location and eat. If you try to walk around the park without a mask on, someone will tell you to put your mask back on. Question of the day, comment down below if you think that these changes are enough to make you want to go back to Disney World. Another big change you would find if you went to Disney World tomorrow is restaurants. They have changed a lot of the way these restaurants work. Most restaurants don't have waiters anymore. What you have to use now is mobile order. You have to order your food before you get there, pick it up at the window, and then go sit down and eat it. Now, some restaurants still use waiters, but it's very uncommon. Another thing you would notice too is they got rid of all the hard menus, and they actually have QR codes at each table. And you scan that with your phone, and it brings up the menu for that restaurant. It's kind of annoying, but I understand why they do it. These are some of the biggest changes over at Disney World that you would expect if you would travel there. So I hope this helps you make up your mind if you want to take a trip to Disney World, And obviously there's always a risk now with COVID and everything that's going on, but I think Disney World does a great job to minimize as much as they can as long as they get the help from you when you're visiting. I hope this gives you a feel on what's going on over at Disney World and makes you feel a little bit safer about your next trip. I think a lot of these changes might stick around for a while even after the pandemic is over. So stay tuned, subscribe down below, and we'll keep you updated on everything you need to know.